Mr. Cuccinelli, it's good to see you again. I appreciate you being here. Do you think that the voter ID requirements that many states have and some that have proposed represent a subversion of democracy as some on the other side here have suggested?
That could hardly be farther from the case. Voter identification is broadly supported as a common sense measure of securing elections. And you've seen a lot of states, many of them that already have in-person voter ID, with the explosion in the COVID-19 era of mail-based voting and absentee voting, that they're providing equal security, or attempting to, for mail-in ballots as they have for in-person ballots. That's logical, it's commonsensical, and it's reasonable to see this path when you see such a massive sudden growth in that form of voting. So the whole idea and the attack, the baseless propaganda attack of voter ID as racist or suppressive somehow, is clearly false enough that many leaders on this literally just threw it overboard when it became politically inexpedient because of Senator Joe Manchin's position over in the Senate, in the 50-50 Senate. And so I can't possibly imagine that all those folks would have suddenly just declared it not to be racist if they'd ever actually thought that in the first place. It tells me they didn't think it in the first place.
Right, and I think the poll numbers that came out around that time may have influenced it as well, which the majority of Republicans and Democrats and independents support ID. In fact, in a previous hearing, I asked the former Attorney General, Mr. Holder, the question of whether or not he supported now voter ID, and he did shift a little bit from his written testimony, which he said, yes, as long as there's no restriction on the type of ID, which is basically saying there's no validity to it, right?
Well, but realize that every state that requires voter identification today offers it for free. Right. So the burden has been reduced enormously. And also keep in mind that folks that don't have any kind of identification would have an extremely hard time participating fully in our society as it operates today. So this goes well beyond voting, and it should be one of those things that, as ordinary Americans do, that we should all be able to agree on.